everybody.
Did anybody else have checks other than Rich and Mike?
We were just talking about that.
You guys had checks to your wives?
I mean, for,
Lunchroom
could
stuff.
they have a lunchroom or?
Yeah, that's all it
Yeah.
is still. We'll have to either abstain or pull those two, because it went back to a family member.
Hey. If we're the ones who will just abstain.
Yeah, yeah, that'll work. That will work. That was the only two I saw. Does anybody else have anything?
Yeah, those are the only two.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
I'm gonna get myself.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, that's why I bring extra.
go ahead and call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. This time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda pending any changes.
This time, there are no changes to the agenda.
Anybody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll approve.
Mr. Martin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Shepherd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, good news recognitions and announcements.
Okay, we have, even though it's summer, some good news recognitions and announcements that have occurred across the district, and Mr. Pope will get that started for us.
I'm Paige Wilkinson, 2022 graduate of Festus High School. This week I signed my letter of intent to play tennis at Missouri Baptist University in Creve Coeur, Missouri. Now here's a look at the rest of this month's good news recognitions and announcements. Jacob Myers won 4 state titles at the Class 4 state track and field meet in Jefferson City. Jacob took first place in the 800, 1600, 3200, and the 4x800 meter relay. The boys team finished 3rd overall. He was named Track Athlete of the Year, and boys track coach Chris Barney was named Boys Track Coach of the Year by Regional Radio. The boys baseball team finished 2nd in the state Class 5 baseball tournament. After winning the semifinal game in an extra innings walk-off walk, the team fell 6-1 to Platte County. They won 12 games in a row before losing in the state championship game. Coach Jeff Montgomery was named the baseball coach of the year by Regional Radio. Lily Mankman was named the Tommy Alexander Award winner during commencement ceremonies on May 24th. 218 students graduated from Festus High School that night. During senior awards held on May 20th, Logan Kirkendall and Kinsey Bannock were named Mr. and Miss FHS. 265 kindergarten students walked across the Performing Arts Center stage on May 24th as part of kindergarten promotion ceremonies. Dr. Luttrell or Dr. Ruth congratulated each one of them on the accomplishment as they crossed the stage. Students then performed a little musical number for parents, grandparents, and friends detailing everything they learned this year. Festus Middle School student R.J. Landers received a Boy Scouts of America Merit of Honor badge at a special ceremony last month. Landers received the badge for his efforts to rescue his mother and grandmother from a house fire in early January. The Merit of Honor is awarded to approximately 1 scout every year in the St. Louis region. 5th grade students graduated from the DARE program on May 25th. Students heard from Festus City Council member Stacy Templeton. She talked to them about being good citizens and making good choices. Kenzie French and Mia Cole were the winners of the DARE Essay Contest. That's a look at this month's good news, recognitions, and announcements.
Thank you, a lot of good. Before I pass it back to President Webb, I did want to announce, I was made aware that the City Council of Festus will be doing a special ceremony, recognition ceremony at their council meeting this coming Monday night at 6 o'clock. And they will be recognizing with the proclamation both Jacob Myers for his performance at the state track meet, as well as the track team for their 3rd place finish as a team at the state track meet. So that'll be on Monday, and again, good partnership with the city to always partner with us and recognize, you know, our student and staff success.
Okay, very good. Moving on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Shepherd, do I have a second?
A second.
Ms. Berzowski? Any notes, Dr. Luttrell?
Yeah, just a couple quick ones real quick. You see there that tonight is those 3rd and final reading of those policy updates. And then we've gone through back through all those and everything in there is taken care of, that needed to be, so those will be ready to go and in place for the start of our new school year. The surplus in the weeded materials, you saw some, that was high school choir. Those were very old choir outfits that they have since updated. And then, as always, you saw the middle school library weeded materials. There was a couple hundred. Most of those, as we said, were all due to copyrights, that we try to, the standards in place are typically, you try to have an updated catalog that is, within 10, 12, 14 years. If it gets beyond that, that's when they kind of start weeding and try to bring in newer titles that are along the same types of topics. And then we do ask, like we do every year, even though we're pretty close, right even tonight, knowing what our end of the year is going to be, we do ask that you give the district administration authorization that come June 30th, once we have closed out the year formally, that we can do a last second, at that time, a final budget amendment that will match all of our year-end expenditures per account and revenues, so that we can close it out and formally submit our annual Secretary of the Board report. And we'll come back to you with that then in July to show you what those final numbers were. But what you're gonna see tonight, or what you're seeing already, is very close, because we have already gotten our June payment that did reflect our estimated enrollment numbers for ADA. So, but there still could be a couple last minute number changes, nothing significant though. That's pretty much that I have for the consent agenda.
Any questions?
I had one, but he answered it, so.
Okay. Still doing a good job. Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please note that Mr. Fadler and Mr. Wolk abstained from voting. Okay, moving on, communications and reports, superintendent's report.
Again, pretty thin report, but we have in the middle of summer school. We have essentially after today, we have 3 days left. The last day is the 28th on Tuesday. Tuesday, yeah. So tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday, we had a total at some point or another, we've had 1,283 students that have been enrolled to some degree. Our average daily attendance right now through day 17 is around 983, which isn't bad. Hopefully we'll be close. Usually we try to generate about 120 to 135 ADA to get our funding on. Last year we were at 133 with our ADA. We should hit close to that. I don't know if we'll get real close, but even if we're within 5 or 6, it's still going to be. So for instance, those of you that, just a quick refresher, on ADA, that's the weighted ADA for your summer. So generally, you translate that back to the minutes and you divide out, and then your ADA, so when that 133 that's generated, say that ADA generates, that again is pretty much funded by the state at the school year level, and every one ADA is a little bit over $6,000. So you say we have 100 kids that, not 100 kids, but 100 additional ADA for summer school, that's what generates our revenue. So like if you had 100, that's roughly right at $600,000 is what you take in from the state. That pays for your staff. Remember, transportation is not funded as part of summer school, but we can use that money from ADA to pay for fuel, transportation costs, our principals and staff. We typically break even, if not come out a little bit ahead on summer school, and I think we'll be in good shape again this year. With that, our school year actually concluded again. As you know, our numbers have been way up. Our ADA for the school year, again, was higher than last year, and we came in this year, even though our enrollment was about 3,283, our ADA came in and take that 3,000 times approximately $6,000, that's how you get pretty much your state funding, comes in. So you take that with your local funding, which we'll talk about here. We talk to the revenues from the local level, we're kind of good. The big part of that, like I said, we were about 60 to 70 higher ADA-wise than last year, okay? And having any too much of a downturn anytime soon, and I'll talk more about that when we get to the budget. Unfortunately, since our last board meeting, we did have the tragedy that happened down in Texas, the school shooting that happened on May 23rd, 24th. And of course, that is, once again, it's terrible. It has heightened everyone's awareness, parents, staff, local officials, saying, hey, what are we doing to make sure our kids are safe? And, we have them with our front entrances, SROs at every building, but it's always good to reflect and do a double check to make sure there's not anything else that you could be doing. That being said, our county has been very proactive and led by the police chiefs in the area, as well as County Sheriff Marshak, working with the superintendents. They have already scheduled a back-to-school mental health and safety summit, okay, that they're inviting all of law enforcement and all of the education officials, police chiefs, mental health leaders within the area to a summit that's going to be on July the 18th, which is a Monday. It's going to be an all-day event, and we're looking at, they're anticipating by the time you bring every the county schools together with their officials, and we get probably, several hundred people. And so we're going to be doing that. The nice thing about that is that Festus R6 has been chosen to host that summit in our new Performing Arts Center, okay? So again, we'll get to showcase that on that day. And again, Dr. Roos, if you want to add anything to that, or I'm sure you'll report back to them next month about.
I will, and we're working on numbers and lunch and those types of things to use. So I think it's going to be a great time for all of us to come together and do more systems of care in the county. What are we providing? How are we handling the situation?
That's great.
And then the final thing I have, which again is not at all a decision item, just something to kind of jar everyone's memory again. One thing we've talked about throughout the school year was, with the pandemic and, again this year with, mandated quarantines for some, we did not have the automatic 10 days in effect this year. And a couple times the board said, hey, let's just kind of wait and see what happens. Let's kind of look at it at the end of the year and maybe we can see what to do. So I put together there on the notes there on my report that there were approximately, and once we got to there was approximately 85 total employees that were impacted in some way by days in terms of losing days because of a mandated quarantine, either for themselves or for as a caregiver. And but yet, what do you do about that? I don't think you want to reimburse people financially, monetarily. That would really be difficult. I know at one time we had talked about maybe anyone that had lost a forced mandated day, maybe just restoring those people. But the more I thought about it, the more Dr. Roos thought about it, something to just think about is to truly be equitable if we're going to do something like that. I think it would probably be good because when we think back, it took everybody's effort to keep our schools open, even on the days that other people couldn't come, others stepped up. And so, again, just something to chew on moving forward is rather than just pick out a few select people for whatever reason, okay, you all are gonna get some days because you had, but maybe if you would think about at some point doing maybe just a one-time adjustment where, say, starting next month, new fiscal, all employees current for next school year get a one-time, like, everybody's gonna get 2 days. You know, something that, now they're still not gonna be able to use any more than they normally could use under policy, but then everybody, so if you already have 35 days, you start with 37, okay? You know, or whatever number you all came up with. But I'm just saying, I think that would be more equitable. Everybody would feel, I think, nobody's gonna be totally, but I think everybody would feel, hey, you know, something was trying to be done here, and how they then choose to use those within the guidelines of what they got in. If they didn't, you know, again, our policy currently says that if they leave the district after a certain amount of time, they can sell any unused sick days back at a certain rate. So, but again, that doesn't need to be decided tonight. We said we would revisit that. I wanted to just give you an update about how many people it was and just some things to chew around with that if you have any questions on that. But that's my superintendent's report.
Would that be 2 or 3 days just dealing with COVID, right? Like if they had COVID? Or
It would be, everybody would get it, and it wouldn't matter what, we would just make, like, even if you had perfect attendance, you'd still get whatever. It would just be blanketed. It would primarily be because we're trying to address the COVID.
So they would have not 10, 12, am I right?
We have,
We have to have 12 currents to start, if you.
when
said
you were
2.
working, it was 10.
Right.
And then this past year, the MOU, we increased it 1. That's every year, everybody's gonna get
Right.
11. And then this year, it kicks up to 12.
Right,
Then
so
it
it'd be
stays at
14 if we said 2.
For just that one time, though, for those other 2,
Yeah.
or whatever you decided. But again, that's just something to think about. Okay, that's my report.
Anybody have any questions? Something to think about, and maybe we can discuss that later on, and if anybody wants to readdress the next meeting, we can, or go from there. Okay, next up, a presentation from ARC Images regarding the design, planning, building, and construction of the new wellness center.
Yes, the architects from ARC Images are here. Mr. Garner and Mr. Magner are here to provide an update on the Wellness Center project, which, as you all know, has been under planning for quite a while. And there's interest in getting a new update in terms of the newest timeline, design, and they're here to do that.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Thought we should give you guys a quick update on where we're at and how things are going with the project. What I wanted to do today is to start off by kind of showing you guys a quick, if I could turn off one of those lights.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
See a little bit?
There we go. Thank you very much, sir.
Sure. This kind of gives you an idea of that front entrance that we have to the wellness center from the lower parking lot area. And I'll show you that in site plan, but it gives you kind of an idea of how we're taking the architecture and the vernacular from the Performing Arts Center and bringing that over and kind of encapping the high school with the same type of materials and same architecture for this project. Today I wanted to bring you guys up to speed on the design status, some of the budget concerns and status that we have going into the bidding process, and then give you guys a schedule update for some next steps also. Wanted to start off by giving you guys an overview of the overall campus. As you know, we've got the Performing Arts Center, the band and choral that we finished up last year. On the left-hand side, our wellness center is directly to the west, below in that area. We are expanding the parking lot area that we have here in the Performing Arts Center to the right, and going to create that area in front of the wellness center as additional parking. To kind of zoom in a little bit, the good thing about the site planning process and the design of this site is that this area will have multiple ingress and egress components when it's all said and done. So coming in and leaving from events, it'll be a real nice area or real nice ability to be able to get cars dispersed throughout the facility. We're expanding the parking, as I mentioned before. We're also doing a bus stacking, oops, pardon me, hit the wrong button, there we go. We're doing bus stacking along the edge of the high school so that when the kids come out, they're able to then get into the buses right away without having to cross any traffic. We are looking at main entrance to the building. This is the elevation that you guys saw down in here in the lower left-hand corner. That main entrance will be directly off the parking lots, the bulk of the parking area. And then as far as the building goes, when the event is over, we have other multiple exit areas in these stairwells here and here that people can then leave also without having to jam up or get into the front lobby space if they so choose. So it's a real nice layout. I think it fits your site very well, and I think it'll fit very nicely into the high school design. To bring you up to speed on the floor plan, I think the last time you guys saw we had some sketches going on, but these are hardline plans that we've got figured out. And we've got our main entry here in the lower left-hand corner based on that site plan I just showed you. As you enter into the main lobby space, we've got our concessions directly in this lobby area. We got our restrooms off to the left-hand side, and then we chose to put the weight room down on the lower level on the right-hand side of that main lobby space. The court is dead center of the building, and then back in this area here, you can see we have the home team locker room for the men's and women's. We do take advantage of every square inch that we can in the facility and provide storage closets and laundry rooms and those types of things, as well as some support space back behind the bleachers and underneath the walking track. We do have means of egress on all four corners of the building, so it's a very efficient way of designing for the facility. On the level 2, or the next level up, we call that the track level. The track level has the walking track you can see in this kind of orange color. It has access to seating, so you can get to the seats through this side here and the other side through the track. You can walk down the bleachers and get into your seats from that elevation. That elevation also contains some restrooms for those that choose to come up the bleachers as opposed to coming down. Restrooms in that corner. We also have the multi-purpose room, which is our wrestling and batting cage area. The athletic director's office, which is kind of the gatekeeper from the school to the wellness center. And then locker rooms for the visiting team and the PE for the school are in the existing PE locker room. We're going to renovate those into new expanded locker rooms for both boys and girls. We are able to also then take advantage of some space here and create storage for that multi-purpose room or for other areas needed within the school. We do have an officials lounge area up in here, which is where the referees can go take a break in between games when you guys have conferences and stuff like that. And then there is some additional space up here, which is off the page for additional classroom space if needed, that we're utilizing the old girls locker room. The next level up we call the third level. It is basically our connector link, our circulation node. And you come in off the main level of the high school. This is the existing gym located here. These are the existing classrooms for the art rooms. We're going to be cutting right through this main corridor into what we call our circulation node, which will have your elevator and our stairwell here. We are also relocating the bookstore, which has a view out to the court, and I think will be a little bit nicer on game day. People can come up and utilize the bookstore if they wanted to. It's moving out of this area that's located in this back corner. Creates a nice area there. Also on this level is the health clinic that we had discussed previously. We do have that located in this corner, which has direct access from the outside, so it could be utilized during school and or after school hours as needed. As we look in the auditorium, or the wellness center, the gymnasium portion of it, I thought I'd give you guys a glimpse of the design of the main room. We've got our two end walls up here and down here that when you walk in, we're looking to divide that space up and utilize it for different components within a gymnasium space. One is to put in the banners and stuff that we've got that you guys get quite a bit around here and utilize, so we want to give you plenty of space to do that. And then we also have areas to do other things. We're going to present this to the steering committee, whether they want to do a big graphic or something in there on the walls, because we do have a lot of wall space in that gymnasium that we can certainly do something with. The one wall towards the west side, we do have some glass that will overlook down into the lobby space and also into that weight room area. So it'll be a nice track area that you'll be able to run around, walk around, and be able to see multiple things as you utilize the track. So those are just some visuals of the inside of the gymnasium.
Now, will those windows be low enough that a light shining through won't affect anything on the court?
Yeah, they are directly opposite of the weight room, which has sliver windows, and you won't get a lot of direct sunlight.
Okay.
So we should not get any direct sunlight into the gymnasium space to be able to, to cause any problems. So it's a layered effect that we have with any glass or glazing going in there. And then this is that window that I talked about that's up in the third level for the bookstore. So you can both see in and see out of that area. So it'll be a nice, the announcer can sit there and go, hey, up in the corners, go get your t-shirts and that kind of stuff. So I think it'll be a nice feature for that room. And then just a quick visual. There's a kind of a 3D shot of in the corner of the gymnasium looking back towards the front entry. This area here, that's your entry doors into the lobby space itself. These are those windows I just talked about that looks down into the lobby, and that's that track that we've got up in that area there. We are looking at putting some scoreboards on both ends of the court, and then also creating areas for possible advertising or anything like that, trying to utilize some space in the design of it to be able to create some animation throughout the space. I think it'll be a real nice feature. And then we've got our scoreboards that we're looking at in the middle of the court, and then the home team. This is the home team side with all the seats. So that gives you kind of a visual of the volume of space that we've got in that area. So that's kind of the design update on what we're at, and we are still working with the steering committee that we've got put together for that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up to speed with you guys today is the budgets. Last time we were here, we were looking at a $14 million budget that you guys said we need to maintain for this project, and we fully understand that. And that has been our goal from day one, is to continue to maintain that budget. I will tell you though, in today's market, we are seeing projects coming in at 20 to 25, even 30% higher than what has been budgeted before, just in the last probably 4 to 6 months. And so what I'm trying to tell you guys today is that we've taken about everything we can to maintain that budget, but in today's market, it is really hard to tell you what's going to happen when we get this thing out to bid. So just wanted to bring you guys up to speed on that. We are looking at different bidding strategies. Some of those are scheduling. When do we go out to bid? Do we hold on and go out a little bit later? Maybe the market is going to, correct itself a bit. Do we go out with a number of alternates, which we are doing and putting into the drawings as add alternates, so that we can try to control the budget as best we can with putting things in now, or maybe designing them to be added later when the markets are better. Looking at different market adjustments. How do we look at what's going on in the market, what the materials are? We are looking at all kinds of different interior materials and exterior materials to see what's available. And then also talking about making sure we have enough contingency for this project, just in case things do happen as we continue to go through there. But we're really trying to maintain the value that you guys have in the design of this facility. A lot of the challenges that we face today in that and in the construction world is the material costs. Those are going up. The material products and availability is a big key component to projects these days and the facilities that are being built. And then labor availability. That again is a component that is affecting the budgets of these projects. And then market activity. When construction is very busy, the prices increase also. So those are some of the components that I just wanted to kind of let you understand what's happening to the construction market. I know some of you do know that because you live in that world. Some of you may not realize that, but it is a real thing on projects that we have and are delivering every day. Our current schedule right now, we should be wrapping up the design process in August, be able to bid and permit this project in September, award if this is the decision we chose to do in October, and then construction should be wrapped up in the spring of 2024. So that is the current schedule that we're looking at for this project, to be able to get this thing out to bid. And our next steps that we have, we are meeting with the committee, another work session on Tuesday, to show them the interiors and make sure everything's fine. And then we are developing, as I mentioned before, bid alternates that we can have so that we can get our bid process pulled together. We are still working with a lot of the owner vendors, I'll call them, the people that are going to supply your basketball hoops and all the components that you guys, the scoreboards and all those things that you guys are responsible for. And then what my plan was is to come back to you guys in September and give you guys an update on where everything is as we're getting this thing, out to bid and getting things ready for the market. So with that, I am here to answer any questions that you guys might have or any comments or anything.
Who's on the committee, I would think, besides you and
Yeah, there's quite a few people from the high school, the coaches and athletic
Mr.
directors, the
Allen.
principal.
Okay. I figured that, I was just
Kevin, and
clarifying.
there's quite a few folks that are involved in all aspects of this. This isn't just a sports venue. It's a high school venue that you guys have pulled together a really good team. I mean, everybody's very
I kind of
passionate
figured
about
that,
it.
just clarifying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
How many people is it gonna hold?
We are at 2,050 seats right now. That is the capacity of the seating in the bowl, we'll call it.
And the owner vendor, that's everything that we're responsible for?
Well, it's the things that we have the school purchase as opposed to putting it in the contractor's scope of work. So what the school will do is they'll enter into a contract directly with the suppliers, because they can come in then and install those after the contractor's gone if they wanted to, okay?
So it'll be 14 million budget plus this other stuff is extra that we're gonna be paying for, correct?
Right,
Yes.
yes.
I mean, and you're good, I mean, again, I'm just gonna put, you might, because this is, again, don't get fooled by the 14 million
Yeah, that's-
is just gonna be for a contractor. That's not gonna, any furnishings, and that's what we kind of went back and forth early on was, what's owner furnishings versus what should be part of the contractor, in terms of bleachers, things like that. But you're probably talking at least 500 to 750 grand in furnishings above that 14 million that we'll have to come up with. And that also does not include, which hasn't been in any of our projects, but that doesn't include also, we're paying architect and engineering fees on top of all that. So I mean, and then so you add the 14 million, another 5 to 750 million, plus 7% or so, 6% in architect fees, and then you're putting another 25. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it could.
It will. So the question I've got, so on the owner vendor portion, other than saving the markup that the general contractors do, what's the benefit?
That's the main benefit is the contractor markups, and then, being able to contract directly with them. I mean, we can certainly work it out to where we can roll that into the contractor's cost. If you as the board decide we want to go that route. We found that working with a lot of school districts and everybody, those tend to be items that they want control over, because then they can choose, based on who they're talking to and what components they get. If we put it into the contractor's scope of work, there are 3 or 4 vendors that they can choose from, okay? Whereas this gives you guys, you can bid that out amongst the people that are bidding the project, and then you can choose the best for you as it goes.
But then on warranty stuff, we would have to go to each individual
Yeah,
vendor So we'd spend a lot of legwork.
But there's not a
on
lot
warranty
of them.
items.
Like, for instance, the scoreboard is one vendor. The seating is another vendor. And then we've got a third vendor that is the basketball, the volleyball nets, all of the little components that kind of go into a package.
And then you've
So
got
you're-
all your weight equipment.
Right.
separate.
Yeah.
I mean,
So you're
there's a
talking-
lot, there are a lot of different vendors.
Yeah,
3 to
that's
4
my only
vendors.
thing, could be, then we'd be responsible, which if it's in a package, we can go to one person and say, you're taking care of the warranty stuff. That's just my thought.
Oh, but Roy, just a little bit further on that, the warranties for your equipment and such are different from the construction warranty from a general contractor.
Right.
Correct.
Sure.
So they're gonna be extended anyway, while the general contractor's gone. After a year, most of their warranties will go silent, with it. So you're gonna wanna keep your warranties ongoing, because you may get 3 to 5, more years out of those for that equipment. You're gonna wanna manage that yourself, because they will not be around to do that.
Especially things like this.
It's that first year where you
Yeah.
Yeah.
find all your
First
issues.
year, you'll get the general warranties on the
Yeah.
building itself, what they were under contract, yeah.
Especially things like the scoreboards and those types of things,
Those
which have
have
longer warranties.
Longer warranties.
And their vendors pretty much stand more behind theirs if there's not, the contractor having to go through the channels to get something done, so. But that's again, a decision that you guys can certainly make, but most of the school systems that we do work with choose to go on a handful of items, the vendor route, as opposed to putting everything into the contractor's scope of work. And we let the contractors know up front that that's what's happening, and then we too tell them in their specifications that they have to coordinate with the school's vendor for final hookups and all that kind of stuff. So we try to not have, and we're pretty successful not having well, that was in his package or that's in there, so.
And I asked that question because I'm dealing with a project that's drastically ballooning because the vendor took, or the owner took that responsibility on.
Okay.
And there was a lot of things missed, and
It's causing issues, yeah.
millions and millions of dollars in
Wow.
issues.
Okay. Well, we're trying to limit it, quite a bit. I mean, I'd like to hear what your issues are.
So that's just the thought that
Yep.
I,
Sure.
yeah, to take into consideration in our decision.
So wasn't there an issue with Ameren that they changed things around and they're just in preparation of this building here?
We have worked out all the issues with Ameren. We've met with them 3 times on site. We've worked through all of the different rerouting of all of the utilities, because there's a lot of utilities coming from that corner of the high school across this way. We're rerouting them down near the road that we're redoing. And so we have worked out all of the Ameren issues, and we've talked to communications, and we've talked to all of different water company. They're all on board with our direction on how we're rerouting the utilities around this new building. And they actually have work orders that they're working on now. We've been dealing with their consultant on the specifics of it, so we know they're kind of on track, for however you can say that with Ameren, but they're on track with us on the design of the new system.
So do we pay for all that rerouting, or do they pay for that, or how's that work?
Well, it's in conjunction. We will pay for the rerouting of the utilities. It is a private utility that comes around around the school area.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. I thought we paid for something to be rerouted.
Well, what we did is we started back in the Performing Arts Center, if you remember that. We took from the pole over there on the far left corner and routed it up against and came down in the Performing Arts package. So as we came down, we set up equipment knowing that we're doing this project. So we set that up ahead of time and it's ready to go. And it's just the continuation now of all that homework we did before. It's just a continuation of
I
that.
think what he's asking though is just, so any cost from Ameren, is that part of
Yes.
that 14 million, or is
No,
that
there
our cost?
there will be some of the owner costs. Now, there was quite a bit of that rerouting in the 14 million.
So when would we know, so the part that's gonna cost the district, would they know that before it goes out for
Yes,
bid?
yeah,
Since
we
it's-
should know that before we can get that out to bid. That's what we're trying to also work on, is get some of the vendors' numbers in for you, plus, Ameren and then the other ones that we can come up with, to be able to let you know what those costs are going to be.
And then on the logistic piece with the, what's discussion has there been about the logistics in terms of the critical path with, once the contractor starts, because if this is gonna start off, you're saying on the timeline could probably be next spring, when they, how is that gonna, with all the bus,
Yeah, and
how's all that gonna be worked out with all the park while construction's going on, bus picking up?
yeah, I'll flip back here real quick to the site plan
Yeah, they need
and
to
kind
see
of give
that.
you an idea how that's gonna work. Because we have sat down and talked to both the high school principal and those involved in this. The goal is to keep this drive lane from the intermediate open most of the time while the project is going under construction. And this parking lot area reconfiguration would be done during a summer event so that the high school has this entire parking area to their use throughout the school process. This would be blocked off from here to here, and then it come around, and then it would be blocked off from here to here. So they can certainly use the stuff to the left here and use the stuff in the upper right-hand corner, but the contractor would get access to all of this area here. Our utilities are gonna be rerouted from this location down along the road around here and then back up to the location that we've got set up right now. So all of that construction will be done in the construction zone and timed obviously for any school outages will obviously be done during, you know, downtimes or give you guys plenty of notice. We've done that on all the projects we've done already and it's worked out pretty successfully. Okay.
Will there be a completion date on the contract?
What we typically will do is we'll give them the ability to put in the amount of calendar days they need to finish the project. And then what we do is we set up our contracts based on that. It allows us to choose a contractor that may have quicker time frame than one that has 4 months after, just to be able to understand what their time frames are to be able to do that. I will tell you though, in today's construction market, there are a lot of things that are delayed, and we are going to have some serious discussion with these contractors on what the long lead items are and what items are not being available until a certain time. So
Yeah, because once they give us a time, I don't want to hear that whine and song and dance out of the supply chain. Well, they tell us it's going to be done a certain date, and then 3 months later, they say, well, I couldn't get a piece of rock from China or wherever the heck it is.
now we are dealing with it every day on all of our projects,
You'd be
and
surprised.
it is
I know, but-
it is a struggle all the way through. We are looking at different materials on a daily basis because this material can't be received, you know, and so we're trying to pick different materials to be able to keep the projects moving.
Okay, if they do pick just different material, is there a price there? Do we lose money that way or
We
gain money?
manage, no, we manage that. We manage the fact that the material that they're going to substitute would be the same quality, same price point. We're not allowing them to come and just give us something, no. It's
Who
a-
decides if it's equal? You guys?
We do,
Okay.
and that's everyday life for us. We definitely would do that. Okay? Any other questions?
I just wanted to take a brief moment, even though it deserves more. I know this is Dr. Luttrell's last meeting, and wanted to personally, as the owner of Arc Images, thank him for all his support that he's given us all these years, and we've enjoyed a good relationship and accomplished a lot, and we owe a lot of that to him. And we've been treated different ways in different localities. Here at Festus, we're very proud of the work we've done together with the board and the district, and been always treated very fairly, and I think that's a testament to Dr. Luttrell and his behavior. And I've learned over the years that when an email or a greeting starts with Greg, I'm good. If it starts with Mr. Garner, I may have a problem. So that's what I take away. But again, Dr. Luttrell, thank you very much for all your support, and all the best to you as you move forward. And we look forward, Dr. Bruce, to working together with you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Anybody else have any questions for him before we
I don't-
move along?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Next up, prior new business, facilities report.
Just real quick report on our summer projects that are underway. Everything is going well. The IT office renovation is pretty well. They got all the, everything framed, drywall, the electric ran. There's still ceiling tile and flooring that has to be put in, but right now, Brock Miller's crew is all, they've kind of pulled everybody now over to the elementary to do, since they've got the abatement work completed over there in the classrooms, to start working on those, renovating those classrooms, demoing, and starting back, putting those back again with drywall, doors, lighting, ceiling. So we can, because that is a priority. We can make things work with some offices, people, but as far as those classrooms, we gotta have those, and so we're trying to keep on track with that. But that's, you know, they're in, you know, right now, we're still on track with that. The fax classroom over at the high school will be underway probably right after the 1st of July, after the 4th. Most of that, once they get the demo in, most of that is cabinet work. Ron's Doors and Windows is the sub, Thorpe Rock Miller on those cabinets. They've done work for us many times with cabinets and that, and they've already been making them now, and so once they get in, that work will go pretty quickly. Okay, so we again feel confident, Tommy feels very confident that that's gonna get finished. The asphalt work that we have scheduled at the elementary, in between the stadium and the elementary, then up at the Queens building, is all scheduled to be done around that 2nd and 3rd week of July. Now again, as we all know with asphalt work, a lot of that depends on jobs they're on, if they get rained out. You know, fortunately right now, the weather's been pretty good, but I just talked to Joker's, you know, one of their foremen the other day, and that's what it's looking like. So that's still in the works, it's gonna get underway. And then the interior doors, that for this office doors and that for the interior, they're slated for sometime in July. That will probably require, it's about a 2-day job, it's gonna be noisy. And then, so we're probably gonna try to work where, again, this is gonna be up to Dr. Bruce, but I think the plan is to Travis, when he's ready to say, hey, I could probably come this week or next week, and then Dr. Bruce and Tom will work together. They would probably try to then coordinate where maybe, because Travis can work on a Saturday, then maybe they come in on a Friday, work Saturday, then Monday maybe our crew can come in and do a deep cleaning of the whole office after they get everything back done with the shampoo in the car. So it might be a couple days, but she would keep you updated. There might be a couple days, like a Friday, Monday or something, where she may say that this office is just gonna be closed so they can get the work done. But she'll keep you updated on that.
Tom should have a date for me soon. He's working with them now. So.
Wonderful. Fiscal year 23 budget.
The fiscal year 23 budget, if you look at your, I'm sorry, not the, yeah, if you look at your tab, the attachment that kind of gave you a summary sheet, not mine, it's kind of a spreadsheet, it was an attachment that came with it. Looks like a, not the green button, just click the file there, the agenda item, it'll pull up a little spreadsheet. And then if all that basic information we're going to summarize in this spreadsheet is in this big, thick document here. But just some highlights in a nutshell, and Mr. Earnhardt, feel free to jump in at any time. But if you look over here at this total column in the spreadsheet, and this is for this starting July 1 when we end the year, looking at during the total fiscal year, having total revenues of around $37,135,000. And we're looking at having total expenditures of about $37,043,000. So again, the budget is in the black right now. That will probably continue to grow moving forward. Again, you know, we try to be very, very conservative from the get-go. This is a non-reassessment year, and so right now, until we get verification, that formal verification of what AV is going to be for property, local property, we don't really want to go out and include too much in this. I think Mr. Earnhardt probably included about maybe 1% assessed, because in a non-reassessment year you don't get much. However, I will tell you that again, we haven't gotten official seating on paper, but it does look like we're gonna, even in a non-reassessment year because of all the new construction in the area, plus personal property with vehicles have all gone up in value, used vehicles in that, it looks like we're, just phone conversations I've had unofficial, we could see triple to 4 times that 1% potentially, okay? Now, every 1% in AV growth at about a 97, 96% collection rate, every 1% in the assessed valuation local growth is approximately about 150 grand in new revenue. Okay, so you just multiply, if we wind up with 1%, you can probably be able to be at 150 grand in new revenue. Now, you get that every year. Now, if it would go up 2% this year, probably you can just double that. If we get 3%, it'd be about 450. Okay, but I think it's going to be pretty strong because we've been fortunate with all the new construction. But he'll update you with that throughout the fiscal year as we get into it. But then you also, the other thing I want to point out here is we paid already some of our projects from this summer that we were going to do, just holding the checks, but cut them out. But even after we do the balance transfer, and John, this is where you might want to clarify this for them down there on that last balance June 30th. That's balance June 30th of 23, right?
Correct.
Correct. So when we, in next fiscal year at this time when we're ending, we're looking at having in Fund 1 that balance of 9,600,000, and then you're looking at Fund 4, which is our capital projects, and you notice there, we've always said, this is after we pay all of our lease payments this year, coming, you know, we can pay every year, but after all of our lease payments are paid this next fiscal year, we pay all of our other projects, we're still, and we do our other annual transfer, look where our capital projects is. We've always said we wanted to try to get that back to the 3 million, but then we thought we could even hit that 4 million mark after a while. And you can see right here that we've got, even this budget we have that at the end of next fiscal year, all of our expenditures, all of our revenues, things go well, we should have an ending balance of the a little over 9.5 in Fund 1. Fund 4 would have in capital projects slightly above 4 million, which again, I think after listening to the architects, we're going to need that. Okay, we're probably going to need some of that. And
We'll try to find a way to put more money in there.
so then you can see our total there, but then our unrestricted ending balances in Fund 1 and 2, I know the board really feels strongly wanted to try to keep that around that 30% mark, a little give or take some, and this budget that Mr. Earnhardt has put together has our ending balances coming in next year, again, right at that 20, a little over, which is good. Very, very solid position. The budget also includes there of that 37 million in expenditures. That includes increasing our base salary, teacher salary to 42,000 for next year, which is a 3.1% salary enhancement on average for staff. But everybody will get that increase on the base. Eligibility for staff to complete graduate work moving horizontally, plus vertically for experience, they will get that. So on average, most will get about 3.1, some will get a little bit higher. And then our classified staff will also get the 3.1% on average across the board to their hourly rate. Plus, we're giving every classified staff member, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Earnhardt, every classified staff person, in addition to the 3.1%, will have an extra 50 cents per hour added for them, not to the base, but to their salary. And that is for all classified staff, correct? And then we do have a couple director coordinator positions, a couple I've talked about, that we need to do some adjustments. It might be a little higher than that. We also, this budget includes, and Mr. Earnhardt, you can probably give the dollar amount much better than I can, but Mr. Earnhardt worked with a bunch of sponsors and coaches this past year. It was a full-on year process. It was part of the MOU last year to go in and totally review and revisit the extra duty schedule for what categories activities were placed at percentage-wise, and really good product came out of that. And but many of, our old extra duty schedule, you got paid for experience, but it ended like after steps 8 or 10, and you just quit. Well, now it extends on out to like close to 30.
32.
So coaches, so there are some that are gonna see a pretty good increase in that, and it was, again, a total team effort, and even before they finalized and incorporated into this budget, they met with the committee and the different individuals, coaches and sponsors, to let them look at it, and for the most part, again, you're never gonna put, they thought it was a very good work that, again, is being incorporated. Do you know how much new money it took, John?
So the classified salaries cost us about $170,000. The extra duty salary schedule is going to cost us about $130,000.
So, again, and that's all reflected in this spreadsheet. I mean, it's.
And there's a copy of that new schedule on the last 3 pages of that booklet that you have.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
in there.
on the,
So
in
you
the
can see
paper
how
booklet.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to the back, the very last page is next year's certificated salary schedule, and then the second page is, tells how the extra duty salary schedule is paid out in terms of experience, but that third one back tells all the different activities and what category, percentage-wise, what level they are, and what percentage of the, this, everything's moving over to the, what is it, John? Yeah, the, on the salary schedule back here, it gives you the level 1, what that amount is
Yeah,
that's
and
coming
then
off.
that's the amount based on the level and the years of experience.
So, anything else, Mr. Earnhardt, you want to say about the extra duty salary schedule at all, or?
No. A lot of good input. Coaches we met with felt they were pleased with what we're doing. Dr. Roos and I met with our classified staff. I'll tell you, we still got a ways to go with our classified salaries, but I think they feel appreciated. We, like I said, we put $170,000 there. One of my goals for next year is to create a new schedule for them, so that every position starts at or above minimum wage. Because, in the market today, you go to McDonald's and Hardee's and they'll pay $13 an hour, $14 an hour. Well, they don't pay insurance, and we do, and that's a hard sell to our younger generation of employees, because they just want money. They don't want to think about the insurance and the benefits and retirement and things like that. And so that's kind of an obstacle we deal with when we try to hire some of these classified positions.
And if you look at, on this book, if you look at page 42, that actually has the classified starting salary pay rates. Now again, that's not what a person that's been here 5-10 years makes, but what that tells what the start. Those of you that have been around quite a while know that there were times where over the last 5-7 years where even the starting wages, we had some that were in the single digits. Okay, and we've gotten beyond that. But as he said, there's still a ways that we need to go, and it's in our strategic plan, and it's something that again will continue to be looked at and not forgotten and addressed moving forward.
There's no way the school could run without these people. I know when I was
No way.
looking at this, I said, oh, okay. Good for you, thank you.
We had some positions that started in the $10 range still
Yeah.
this year. And so,
Also with the paraprofessionals, again, with the increase in the money, we also increased their days and their hours in a day to make them all uniform. They were 7 hours a day, and then to include them in our professional development day so that they can come in and be a part of
I
that.
read that somewhere.
So
Yeah,
I think they
good.
were very appreciative of that as well. So the increase is important, but also helping them be a part of it.
It's a respect factor too, I feel. Yeah, we're good.
And then last two, I want to point out that the last 2 years, fiscal year 22 and then fiscal year 20 they were going into, one thing that has also been really helped our budget, those who remember, is that last year, our health insurance consortium has really leveled out the way it's we lost a lot of members, and we became much more, much smaller, much more efficient, and we're in good shape. But last year, we actually had wasn't Mr. a 1% or zero level, no increase a year ago.
A year ago, it was flat,
And then this year, we actually are taking 7 or 8,
7% decrease.
7% decrease in our premium, okay, and same coverage, okay? Because again, our consortium is so much more healthier, cost-wise, and, which, again, hopefully, we think that's, gonna continue. There may become a time in the next when we have to maybe increase 1% or 2, but, so the last 2 years, everything's aligned, and we've come out very well on that, which, of course,
Saying something today's self market.
there's been years and years where,
The other thing that's done is it did allow us to put a little more money in the HSA contribution for our employees. So we contribute roughly $200 every month in our employees, those who choose the HSA. And so this allowed us to put a little more. I mean, it wasn't a large amount. I think we saved $130,000 on insurance, and I think 90 of it we put right back to go into the HSAs. So we did increase that for our employees who take the HSA as well.
okay, thank you. That's all on the budget.
Somebody
And
like
we do
to-
need to, we would like, if you would, to have a motion to approve the budget, if you would, the fiscal year 23 budget as presented.
Question?
Yeah, or comment, which haven't been on the board previously, you guys kind of know where I stand on this, but I think we really need to take a look at some of these rates that we pay, because they're very, very close to minimum wage, and some are below minimum wage. I don't think that we should look at what minimum we could get. I think we should, again, we have to be concerned with taxpayers' money, but I think we should offer to where people have the desire to want to come and work with us on the people actually support and allow the district to run.
Absolutely.
So it's, I don't like the fact that we're still so close to minimum wage. I think that's ridiculous when we offer to say that, hey,
And
we're
that's
the
your goal.
best, we need to encourage the best to show up at a minimum wage. That becomes difficult.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I think we should look at it and
I mean,
really
I
strongly
know
try to push
Mr.
for it.
Earnhardt and I and Dr. Roos have talked, and I think she's gonna be wanting to have those discussions too, but I think the kind of consensus is there needs to, well, I know we've tried to work towards this, we're trying to get to, of course, 2 years ago, we were trying to get to like a 3-year period to get, but I still think we would like to get to 15. Have everything be a minimum of 15. It's just gonna, like you said, that takes a little time, but I think that is our goal, to keep working towards.
And
You're right, but you're very right.
I know, it's something previously when on the board, I kind of harped about I harped about it for 13 years, and I'm never gonna stop harping about it until we address the situation, because I don't think it's right.
Yeah, I understand.
That's my
Every
piece.
little bit helps, I agree.
We want to get to 15 before the minimum wage is 16. so.
Yeah, I think the problem is, we've been talking about this for a long time, and I
Yeah.
think everything is outpacing us, so is our problem.
Yeah, but that's why the last couple of years, I've really been harping on it, kind
Right, we
of saying
almost have
it
to
stronger,
pick
that
our pace up a little bit, though.
we have to figure something out that we can do it, that we start making gains on it, not just staying.
I agree.
And these are, every single one of them, they're hard-working,
They're-
good
yes.
people. You call any school at any time, like when I pick up my grandchildren, they just couldn't be nicer. And it's, so, well, we're all in agreement. It's what's gonna be done.
Somebody like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 23 budget as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Abrams, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Wolf, do we need a roll call on that, or?
Yes.
Well, then will you poll the board, please?
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Wendell?
Yes.
Mr. Abrams?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mrs. Grossack?
Yes.
And appreciated everybody, and I'm sure they will look at continuing to bring those up in the future, It's like Mr. Shepherd's concerns and all of our concerns. Because you're only, your teachers are the biggest part, but you're only as strong as your classified staff to the support.
You got it.
So, next, discussion for setting a special work session, late July, early August.
You've heard me talk before about, our enrollment has increased now. In fact, I did some numbers earlier today, and when I came superintendent 2013-14 school year, since then, through now, our overall enrollment has increased 10%, okay? And just since, but here's the crazy part, is that since 2018, that's when we really had it. Since 2018, it's been right at 8.5%, 9%. So the biggest part has come in the past 5 years, 4 or 5 years. The good part of that, though, because it also shows we're growing, is our overall assessed valuation has gone up since I took over. It's gone up 40%, okay, which is good. I mean, that means our local, economy and everything is going strong because for property values and that. We did the classrooms in 2015. That bought us a lot of time. We got rid of the trailers. We're still okay, but with our numbers, there's going to have to be some additional discussion about campus expansion, classroom expansion. What does that consist of? Do we look at reconfiguring grade levels? It's also going to take some money. And so Dr. Roos being taken over as superintendent, I think she would like to set some time aside with you all early on here, maybe sometime in late July, especially maybe the first week of August, to maybe sit down with her and Mr. Earn and kind of have a work session and kind of let her share some of her thoughts about different options we might have for expansion to some degree. But more so, the thing to think about is, unfortunately, if this enrollment things continue, if you don't get started on it now, it's going to get ahead of us. And because right now, even starting to talk about it, it's probably going to be in the next summer before you could probably even get the work to begin. And this isn't a project you're going to be, the expansion we're talking about, the copy you're going to need, isn't going to be something that's going to be done in one summer. So you're probably even right now, you're probably looking at the earliest, even for any expansion to be done, even if you're probably talking August of 24 at the earliest. Okay, so I mean, you can't, like I said, we can't wait too long. But Doctor, if you want to talk about, say anything to Dr. Roos, I mean,
We've actually had some preliminary conversations just with our principals. We know it's coming. Our head wasn't in the sand. So we've had some preliminary conversations, and I just think it's time for us to come together so I can share those ideas and thoughts and get your thoughts about the direction that we want to go, because we do need to make some decisions pretty quickly to address it. So I would like to see if we can maybe have a work session at the beginning of August, late July, beginning of August.
you said 1st of August is best for, what do you think?
Yeah, first of all, August for,
For me, the end of July, I'm retired now, so I'm not gonna be here in most of August. Sorry.
All of August?
No, the first 2 weeks.
I'll be out of
July.
town first week of August also.
Okay, so,
Anybody available the last week of July, is that?
last week of July is good with me.
the only day that I couldn't do is the 26th. I have an administrative team meeting already scheduled that
We're
day.
talking
Sounds like the
evening?
26th is the only day we can do it, so we're done.
I can do any evening in July.
What about
Yeah,
the
to the
28th?
28th.
That's what I was thinking.
28th.
The week after work, my regular meeting.
Yes.
I'm good with that.
July 28th, we want to do 6 PM, 7 PM, what works best for
I'm
everybody?
missing something.
6, 7.
Let's
6
see,
p.m.
something
You
here.
guys pick, I'm not working.
6 is difficult for me.
Okay, 7.
The busy stuff is.
Okay.
Would 7 be better, 6:30 or 7, just to give us plenty of time?
6:30 be better than 6.
So 6:30 work for everybody, then we can give us a little bit extra time, and so I'd like to make a motion do we need a motion for that, or we just schedule it?
It wouldn't hurt to just put it in, that way we can start.
So I'd like to make a motion to set a special meeting, work session for July 28th, Thursday at 6:30 PM.
I'll make a motion for the special meeting at 6:30 on July 28th to discuss expansion.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You have your work session.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything for open session? Before we do go into closed session, I want to take just a couple minutes. As we all know, this is Dr. Luttrell's last meeting with us. I know you said you don't want any big pomp and circumstance or anything else to go along with it because you hate being the center of attention. But after 15 years of dedication to this district and since 2013 as our superintendent and assistant superintendent before that, we couldn't just let you go away with nothing. So the board got together along with a lot of help from Dr. Roos and a tremendous lot of help from Mr. Pope over there. Just got you a couple small things, token of our appreciation for all you've done for the district. There's a card from the board, you can open that whenever, and just got a couple things to show our appreciation.
Well, I appreciate, again, y'all know, I really don't like attention.
Yeah, too bad.
And I will say, like I said, 36 years in education, I've been in many districts, and my best experiences truly have been the 14 years I've been here at Festus. You all have been great to me, you've been great to my family, you've had good relationships. I think the whole district has taken a team effort from parents to students to business, and I think everyone knows that all of you have been around here, okay? And the place, the position that the district is in right now, 14, 50 people would have said that, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen, but now, because of the teamwork and everybody's drive, everything has come together, and definitely, Festus is one of the top premier districts. And we know it's the best in the county, one of the top in the area, and one of the best across the state. And that's why I think another reason why the whole community, our school community, is growing so much, because again, people recognize the great things we're going. Oh, wow, some pictures. Wow. Hope I don't want to.
You know, Mr. Pope put a lot of effort in, just some of the
Some
major
pictures of all the
upgrades.
facility, wow, the ball field, the playground, yeah, the classrooms, yeah, very nice, thank you.
Something to keep with you there.
Get my good side, Kevin. Oh, yeah.
I'm getting a glare. There we go.
Thank you. And thank you all very much. And then, do I open this too?
Yes.
Is this a cake?
Everybody back up. Never mind.
They know I'm very jumpy. Man, this was wrapped very.
We already have his picture for the wall. Before he gets out of here.
Well, we don't let him walk out the door. We gonna get a picture?
Oh, wow, Kevin, look at this. This is cool. This is really nice. This is cool. 2 bricks.
Those will be put in the legacy circle.
Says, we'll say Federal Assistant Superintendent, 13 through 22. And then another one, Dr. Luttrell, you made a difference. That's really, really nice. Really nice. Thank you all very much.
So those actual bricks will be installed in August.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for everything you've done for this district,
It's
sir.
been a pleasure.
Yes.
And with that, nobody else has anything else, I'll entertain a motion with roll call vote to enter into executive closed session with a closed record and closed vote pursuant to RSMO 610.021, sections 313 personnel and section 2 real estate.
Second.
Mr. Stanley, will you poll the board, please?
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Pedler?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Wendell?
Yes.
Mr. Ingram?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Fairclough?